Alright people, here we go, 28, we're almost done with this, okay, let's go Jared, we're cheering you on, October 10th and 11th, he's in Lima, Peru, we're going to cheer him on, and let's go Jared, come on now. Got that big match down there in that tournament. Now day 28 people, we're basically done. How about that? How many heads have you gotten done this 30 days? That's fantastic. I think I'm coming up on 300, which is my, abstract goal. No big deal. And we're almost done. So how exciting is that? Hey, I'm glad you're here, by the way. Okay, check in with yourself real quick. Are you stoking that fire? You got your resolve actuated and excited and all that? Do you got that critical eye locked in the hole? Okay, you got your impulse control on deployment. If you don't have it deployed, regroup, deploy it. Keeps you out of a lot of trouble. Keeps you from wasting energy. Keeps you from being provoked and living a reactionary life. Think about that. You want to live a proactive life, meaning wherever your intention goes, your energy flows, rather than a reactive life. When somebody comes with a little stick to poke you in your crab shell, you all reach out and try to grab it, all right? And then you get caught and put it in the boiling pot and cooked for dinner for somebody else. We don't want that, okay? Fuck that shit, right? We don't want that. All right. And then finally, how's your schedule doing? Are you on track with your schedule? Hey, if you had things come up in your life, don't feel bad. Just regroup, reassert yourself, get your schedule back on track and say, hey, I'm giving myself permission today to regroup for tomorrow. Okay? That's how we do it around here. All right? Feeling bad is a luxury you don't have, I don't have. Why is that? Because we want to be successful, right? Feeling bad only slows us down. It only makes us wallow. And you know what happens then? We play the victim card and look for a white knight. All right? If we're looking for a white knight, that means we're living a reactionary life. We have regressed into a childhood mentality at that point. Okay? And we're looking for a parent or an authority figure to come and help us out, right? Now, that means we are ripe to be taken advantage of. We are ripe to have our energy siphoned off. We are ripe to have our attention taken from us for somebody else, okay? For just garbage stuff, right? Your creativity gets siphoned for other people, blah, 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 blah. Fuck that shit, right? We ain't into that. We got the live coming up on Saturday. I'm excited about that. Probably going to have my other things going on. I got some videos, blah, blah, blah. Got the new setup going. I might even try to get a couple people to drop by now that I have the software to be able to do that, okay? Trying to figure out how to get this OBS thing up so I can pop up the, all of the nice little comments and all that kind of stuff. Because it's more exciting that way. When we have like a chat interactive conversation. I like that a lot more than just me rambling on like an old ramble box, okay? So we got that going on. Then we got Sunday Funday coming up. We're on day 28 right now. That means 29 will be Friday and 30 will be Saturday. So then on Monday we'll have our day 0 of our next challenge, okay? So I'm excited about that. It's going to have to do with writing. We're still going to do some art stuff with it, but it's going to have to do with writing. Some visual art stuff, I mean, because of course writing is art, right? So what do I want you to do? I want you to go ahead and get yourself together. What are you going to need, right? Well, I got myself my little notebook right here that I write down all my ideas and all that kind of stuff. I have 2 notebooks actually. Then I got this one over here, okay? Then I write down a whole bunch of other ideas in. So usually if I get an idea throughout the day, I'll jot it down on this notebook right here, and then I'll further refine it and put it in this notebook right here, okay? And then from this notebook I take and I do my writing. So you're going to need at least 2 notebooks, all right? You're also going to need Post-it notes, okay, because we're going to use those, all right? So grab yourself a stack of Post-it notes from Walmart or wherever like that, and we're going to use some Post-it notes. You're going to use about 1, maybe 2 Post-it notes each time. It's going to be a little exercise, all right? It's going to be fun, okay? The idea being, you know, creativity is like a stream of water, right? And a lot of people have the wrong idea about what creativity is, right? They sit there and they think that they have to hold on to this one drop of water because it's the most important. And they don't know, but at some point in their life, they're going to have to deploy this one drop of water, right? You got what I'm saying? That's not how creativity works, right? Creativity works like the water in your stream, not water in a pond, okay? If you have water and you keep it in the pond, that one drop of water is going to evaporate away and no more water. But in a stream, you want the trickle of water to continuously flow. You don't want to try to hold on to any of it. You want it to flow by. Then what you want to do is you want to figure out how to make the stream bigger. So every drop of water is like an idea of creativity. So at first you want the trickle. You know, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 during the day, and you don't hold on to it in your mind. You hurry up and you write it down right here, and you make room for the next drop of water of creativity, right? And then you come up with a system so that you could trickle it from here and refine it into here, and then you get an even bigger flow, okay? Because now you're going to start getting ideas about the ideas that you wrote in here. And then different things that you experience during the day are going to create even more ideas that then you're going to put in here and maybe trickle it down to the other one, okay? The reason why it's important is because some ideas you're not going to use. You have to create a system in which you are going to discard your ideas, and you have to be okay with that, okay? You have to give yourself permission to understand that it's okay if you discard ideas. Not every idea is going to be a, you know, the pinnacle idea, but they're all stepping stones towards that pinnacle of an idea. You got me? And that's why you have to think about creativity, okay? Quite often, so many people say, oh, I've got this great idea, but I can't tell anybody. I can't do anything with it. I can't, you know. And so they hold on to it in their head, and you know what? It's not really a great idea. But if they had gone through the stepping stones, you know, and thought about it some more, that idea would lead to another idea, the third and fourth idea. Guess what? They still aren't at a good idea yet, all right? But by the time they hit 9, 10, 11, now they're getting to the good ideas, okay? And once you feel what a good idea feels like, because good ideas feel different, okay? They do. Once you feel like what it feels like, you're able to attenuate yourself better, like an antenna, to receive a higher caliber, a higher quality of ideas more frequently, okay? Now, I don't know if you've ever had this experience. Maybe some of you have. We talked about it with Ryan Harkness, okay, in that interview. If you haven't watched the interview, go back and watch it. We talked about the lightning bolt moment, that feeling of what it feels like when you get a lightning bolt idea, okay? And the lightning bolt ideas are the tremendous and the fantastic ideas. They feel different when you receive them, okay? They feel different. Like, for me, when I get a lightning bolt idea for like a cartoon, like everything will flash white, and then I'll see the cartoon. I'll just see it in my mind. I'm like, oh, I gotta hurry up and do that cartoon. And I don't know where the ideas come from. You know, they don't come from me. I receive them from somewhere. And that's what I'm trying to discuss with you, is how to create a process where you will foster that reception. Okay, you will make yourself a vessel ready to receive these ideas. Okay, now all of the ideas excuse me, are going to be your ideas, and they're going to be like about your life, and they're going to be about the things that are familiar with you, and you're going to build those. But the ideas come from somewhere, okay? So we want to make a system, right? Build a system so that you can catch the water, the rainwater. I'm using all kinds of water analogies, I know. The rainwater from your roof into your rain bucket, so you can have those ideas so that you can then go ahead and use them for something, okay? And we're going to make it a process, and it's going to be just like the drawing process, right? We're going to start with simple shapes, simple ideas that we're then going to shake the tree, and the ripe ones are going to fall down. We're going to put them somewhere else. We're going to refine them. We're going to squeeze them out into the jelly. At the very end, we're going to take, you know, like 100 apples, and at the very end, we're going to get this little jar of apple jelly. Right? That's this concentrate of apple flavor. That's really what people are after. And we're going to talk about how to get that, how to do it. We're going to talk about how to use your pain, your struggle, your life to go ahead and spin this gold of a story that other people will, once they read it, they'll be fascinated by it, right? That's the point here. And so many times you got people coming up saying, read this, read this, read this, and you're like, you read the first paragraph, you're like, this shit sucks. Okay? I don't want to read it. I don't have time to read all these bad stories, right? So what does that tell you, right? I just dropped a little nugget. Okay? You got to hit in your story with a fucking hard punch right out the gate, right? Don't loop it in there with some, like, you know, artsy fartsy bullshit creativity, blah blah blah. No. Come right out the gate with that hook. You know, and get them. Once you got them, you can then get the artsy-fartsy shit in there, right? But you got to get them with that hook first, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all that stuff. And by the end of it, you're going to be a good writer. Because you already are a good writer. You just don't know the protocol, right? The protocol, what protocol means is how you communicate information, right? There's a protocol to being a good writer. There's a way to be a good writer. There's a way to do all this stuff. There's a right way, there's a wrong way. There's a right way to build a house, and there's 1,000 wrong ways to build a house. There's one right way to make a great recipe. There's a million wrong ways to fuck it up, right? And who wants to eat some bad recipes, you know? Who wants to eat, like, terrible food? Hey, once you've had great food, there's this restaurant I used to go to all the time. I lived in San Francisco, okay? I lived in San Francisco for a couple years. And before it totally went to shit. There's this restaurant in North Beach called The House, right? And I worked right around there. And I would walk there all the time for lunch. And it got to be the point that they knew me there. It was a little husband and wife restaurant, right? And I would remember, I would go and I would get this this udon, spicy udon soup. I'm trying to think. I think it was fish udon or something like that. But it was fantastic. This soup with the udon noodles was fantastic. And I would have them throw extra Thai chilies in there. Oh, it was so good. And it had a little toasted nori on top. And it was so good. The soup was fantastic. I'd just go in there all the time, at least once a week for this bowl of soup. Even if it was hot or cold, it didn't matter. And I would just sit in the back, and they knew what I wanted, and they bring me my Coke and all this kind of stuff, and you know, really nice people, and fantastic food. Okay, it was Asian fusion. It was an Asian restaurant. Got to the point so that, like, if I ever took somebody there, I went there like on a night, it would always be packed, right? If you know anything about the restaurants in San Francisco, they're always packed, the good ones, right? There's always a line, like 2 hours. And so I ate there all the time during the day, and the food was fantastic. And I would go there at night sometimes. I'd, you know, go on take a date there, or go there with friends, or after a bar or whatever. And they always knew me, and because I went there all the time as a regular, they would skip the line. I'd skip the line, and they'd give me a prime table just like that, with everybody else having to wait 2 hours, having to get on this list. I fucking loved it. I thought I was just like, you know, the shit bag. I thought, man, I'm the VIP, right? And I really appreciated that. But what I was trying to say is, once you've had good food at a restaurant, the decor doesn't matter. The way it looks doesn't matter. Nothing fucking matters if the food's good enough, okay? And you'll beat a path to that restaurant and eat there all the time. And that's what we want to do with your stories. We want to make it so good that people are like, I'm going there. I don't care if I had the egg rolls yesterday. I'm having them again today. I'm having them tomorrow. I'm going to have them the next day. And I'm going to talk nonstop about this restaurant in North Beach called The House. Now, unfortunately, the restaurant's not there anymore. I checked on it, you know, and to see if it was still there a while ago, but it's not there. And I even tried to find the owners where they went to see if they started a new restaurant somewhere else in California, maybe LA, because I was going to go. You know what I mean? That's how serious I was about it. But I don't think they have. But that's what a good quality story will do, or a good quality food, or quality in general will do. As soon as you know, okay, I know I'm going to get a fantastic, product or story or whatever, I'm going. I don't care. I know I'm going to get great ice cream. I'm going to drive 45 minutes to go get it. I know I'm going to get great sushi at this place. I'm driving an hour over there. I know this noodles restaurant is the best noodle. I watch them make the noodles right there. I'm going. I'm driving 2 hours. It doesn't matter. And so that's what we want to create, right? That's what we want to make, and that's what we want to do. We want to take your life lived experience, and we want to craft stories that are that quality, that are so good that it attracts people to them, right? And it's totally possible, okay? And I'm going to share with you how to do it. I learned how to do it. And it's a couple components that might surprise you, okay? But you got to be open to it. Now, I ain't saying you got to have to drink any special potions or go through anything like that, no indoctrination or any secret society stuff. But what I am talking about is you have to be open to creative things. You have to be open to emotional energy. You have to be open to giving yourself permission in order to write a good story. That's what we're talking about. So many people would choose to believe they're not good at it. They're not good at something because they don't want to be good at something, or they don't believe they're capable of being good at something. And so by doing that, they're blocking themselves off because they won't give themselves permission to be good. And they won't acknowledge the fact that they could be good, because if that is possible, their entire life is going to change. I'm serious. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Giving yourself permission to be excellent. That's what this next 30 days is going to be all about. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna have a great time doing it, and we're also gonna have some drawing involved. And I'm gonna be working on a story that I've already written, Kitty City. Okay, and it has to do with Mersh. Shout out to Mersh, Big Dog Mersh out there on Nightwave Radio. Been kicking some ass. If you haven't been watching Nightwave, go watch some Nightwave. All right. But I already wrote the story, and I'm gonna be doing a comic, right? And I've already been working on it. And I'm going to be doing all of the interiors and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be posting it every Friday, all right? So people can go read it, all right? You can keep up with it and have a good time. Then I'm going to move on to the next one, okay? And that's what I'm going to do, okay? So be ready for that. Now, I know we're rolling up on 17 minutes. Ease up, James. We're going to get James on soon. I got the setup going. He's getting his setup together. And we're going to get him on to talk about what's going on over there in England, all right? So that'll be a lot of fun, and maybe he'll join us on the old story time and all that. And I got some other people lined up, so I'm excited about that, okay? I'm going to get those interviews going again, all right? Just had a little hiccup there for a minute, right? Getting the new setup, okay? We got it. But we had a great video yesterday. What I'm going to do is talk about some of the comments. We got Pat, Chisel, it's like a little tongue twister, right? Seashells in SoCal, she said, gotta watch that interview. They look great as Muppets. All right, now we were talking about we were talking about the Patrick Bet-David and the Nick Fuentes interview and how crazy that was. And, bro, that interview was just a fucking soggy sandwich or a stale donut. I'm expecting fireworks, and here Nick goes in there and gets bullied around. I'm like, well, so much for that, right? I thought he was going to champion his own ideas instead of getting rolled up into the whole valuetainment, big conservative ink or whatever. That wasn't very fun. And I really don't like Patrick Bet-David at all. I watched, what was her name? I watched an interview he did with a woman, and I think her name was Anne. I can't remember. And she was trafficked as a child. She was a victim of child trafficking. And he was like, well, how do we know this really happened? How do we know all this stuff? And I'm just like, this motherfucker, man. He was just, I had to stay in my seat because I was getting ready to punch that fucking TV because how cavalier and callous he was acting about it, It's like, if you don't believe this lady, don't have her on, bro, okay? But at least do, 5 minutes of research You know, and you'll see that she ain't bullshitting, okay? She's got names, dates, she's got all over the place, you know. She's not bullshit. Oh, that pissed me off, man. And he's already on my shit list anyway. That whole crew over there, you know what I'm saying? All them wannabes that are just trying to project some sort of importance, like I know what's going on, but here, buy my hat. I got 30 hats now. Buy my hat, buy my hat, buy my hat. And then I'm sitting there thinking, you know, he dropped a little gem in that interview. He said, "Oh yeah, I was running my office, and we had a whole bunch of Scientologists working in my office." And I was like, "You got Scientologists working in your office? What the hell's wrong with you?" Like, if we don't already know that Scientology is the biggest scam run by L. Ron Hubbard and his whole crew, descendant from Aleister Crowley, the JPL, you know, the OTO and all that stuff. Bro, do like 5 seconds of research. Jeez, it's fucking rube, bro. Rube. All right. Who else we got? She says you're doing great. All right. Then we got Professor Grass. He says, I'm so pumped for the writing challenge. Okay. And he's all excited about it. He's already started writing and posting. Now, people, come and join the Discord, okay? Jump in the writer's room, post something, all right? You know, I'm making it so that it's a very copacetic environment. If you want commentary on your writing, you can have it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it, okay? So come on over, participate, have a good time. Get better at writing. Get better at being creative. That's what we're doing over there, all right? And then James says, I recognize that beak. And he's talking about somebody's face, and I think he was talking about whoever we were drawing. So hell yeah, James, you recognize him. For sure, for sure, for sure. But that's what we're going to do. Get excited about it. These 30-day challenges are designed to demonstrate to you that you actually have this well inside of you of creativity, okay? And all you got to do is prime that pump. Prime that pump. And that well is going to be flowing. It's going to be flowing infinitely. Then before you know it, now you're understanding how to tap into something bigger than you, right? You don't want to be a battery. You don't want to be a capacitor, okay? You want to be just a conduit, a wire, a heavy wire that transmits that energy from somewhere out there to right here inside your fingertips, okay? Inside your mind, down into the paper, into the story, into the computer, into the drawing. Hell, we got Chooch out there. He's doing wood turning, you know. We got Joe up there in Canada. You know, he's the firefighter or the logger up there in Canada. He's out there riding dirt bikes all the way up there in Nova Scotia or wherever the hell he is. Creativity flows in a lot of ways, and it's how you become the adventurer in your own life instead of this person that's planted in a chair watching everybody else live their life, wondering, when's it going to be my turn to live my life? When am I going to have come off the bench? When am I going to be put in the game? You know? Well, you're in a game now, motherfucker. Give yourself permission to get in the game. Come along. Quit delaying it. All right? Let's go. Now, today is day 28, people. I got my paper down here. I got my pens. And what I want to talk to you today about is how do you get better now that we've done 30 days of heads? Where do you go from here on your own when you walk in your own path of doing heads, okay? So what I want to say is I want you to go and find yourself an artist that you love, okay? Now, it could be a comic book artist. I'm doing Joe Maduria, Joe Mads, was for short, right? Everybody knows Joe Mads. He did, you know, Battle Chasers and all kinds of stuff like that. And he's got a good mix of cartoon style and realism style, okay? Now, you might like, you know, a Disney artist, or you might like, you know, we talked about, what's his name, Campbell, the other day, you know, or you might like, you know, Frank Frazetta, or you might like Ethan Van Sciver, or you might like, you know, all kinds of other artists. You know, maybe it's just, like I said, a cartoon artist. Maybe you like, you know, contemporary artist, old artist, Norman Rockwell, perhaps. Maybe you want to study a classics, you know. But whatever it is, go find that artist and start downloading those images, okay? Start downloading images that you like. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to do master, they call them master studies, okay, when you study a master's work. But I'm going to show you real quick how and what you do when you do a study, when you study other people's art to try to get better yourself, okay? You don't just go in there and start blindly copying. Well, you could do that, but then it's going to lead you to the next phase when you start to understand that every drawing has those layers that we talked about, and what you want to focus on is at the beginning, the bottom layer, the simple shape. So we're going to come down here. I got some Joe Maduria laid out right here, a couple of heads. We got the Wolverine, and Hulk laid out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab a nice thick one. And when you're trying to study, just go ahead and the first layer, look for those simple shapes. Okay, so we got the Hulk down here, right? And we're just going to look for the simple shape. We're just going to draw a box. There it is. Can you see that? That's the same shape that's right here. You see that, right? So first you want to look for those. You want to learn what shapes does your artist use. Okay? And it's kind of like their nomenclature or their shape language. A lot of people call it a shape language. Okay? And every artist has their own specific set of shapes that they like. Okay, so you find that's what's drawing you to this specific artist, is you like the shapes that they're using. Okay, you have a affinity for their shape language. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and put that dotted line down there, and you know, the lines down there for the eyes, nose, mouth, and each artist has different proportions that they use too, right? So you can see this right here. This eye line is not really in half. It's a little bit above the halfway mark. Well, that's the way he does it because he's a little more cartoonish and his mouths are bigger. So they occupy a larger area. So we're going to go ahead and put in some of this, some of the details here. Remember, you always start out with the simple shapes, okay? The simple shapes are level 1. You always start out with the simple shapes and then you build it, okay? After you got the simple shapes down, then you can go ahead and make them a little bit more abstract. And then after you've got that down, you can go ahead and make them more anatomically correct and kind of end up where they end up in their drawing, okay? And that's the process, all right, people? And that's how you do it. That's how you're going to go ahead and carry on your learning so that you don't lose your momentum and you are able to capitalize on what we've done here and go on at your own speed, your own pace, and study the people that you like so that you can be happy with your artwork. You got me? And that's what you want to do. All right? And it's very relaxing. And if you're not relaxed, you should go take a walk. Okay? And you should always draw when you're relaxed. If you can't get relaxed by just taking a couple of nice simple breaths, well then you got to go take a walk, buddy, because you're too excited or anxious or worked up or something. You have to be able to really come to rest within your own spirit, you know, really relax. Take a breath, feel time slow down, you know what I mean? Feel it slow down, and so that you can really concentrate on making the strokes that you want to make. Now, if I'm too worked up, my pen, it just gets a life of its own, and it won't make the marks that I want. Like every time I do a curve, like I'll try to do a curve like this, it'll want to do curve like that. All excited, you know. I'll try to do a little eyeball like that and just relax. Well, in my emotions, I'm like, oh, I really want it to make some impact. So then I'll make the eye like that. And I'm like, oh shit, that's the wrong size, the wrong shape, the wrong proportion. That's what I mean. Your excitement will influence your arm and your muscle control, and it'll come out wrong. So you got to go take yourself a walk, go do some exercises, go take a run or whatever. Now here's another simple shape, right? This is our box that we developed. Remember, we developed this box. And this is the Wolverine. He kind of looks like a Kuma, if you guys know Kuma from Street Fighter. Right? And then here's the eye line right there, and there's the nose line. And then we're looking at his mouth, and it's open, and we have to find that simple shape for the mouth. Okay? So there it is right there. There's the simple shape for the mouth. And that's going to be crucial to understand how his teeth fit in there. So make sure you get that simple shape done. Alright? Find the simple shapes first. Okay? So then we're going to come up here to the Wolverine. We're going to go ahead and get some of this going on. Put some of his hair in there. Alright, he's got his hair flowing back like so. And, you know, it's already laid out for me so I can just jump right into this ink process of the hair. Otherwise, you know, I'd have to have those simple shapes underneath it, but I already have them, so I'm just going to go ahead and ink right on top of it. Now, a big reason I do this is because, you know, it's not really that fun to watch somebody draw. Because you're kind of like watching their thought process, but in slow motion. You know what I mean? And we all want fast, exciting, you know, like remember what I said, hit them with the hook. Hit them with the hook. Get them all excited about it, right? So I try to hit you guys with a hook and come in and entice you with the ink part so that you can see how exciting it's going to look, and we're going to skip past all of that slow part where we actually do the bulk of the drawing and the bulk of the work so that hopefully you watch, right? Because that's what I want. I want you guys to watch. I want you to be inspired. I want you to get excited and believe that it's possible for you to also draw like this and capture this excitement. But it does happen in slow motion, okay? And that's especially difficult when we've been conditioned as a society to have everything happen quickly, in fast motion, okay? You're sitting there, you're getting your TikToks done, or you're scrolling on your Twitter or whatever. And bro, I'm always gonna say Twitter. You know what I mean? I hate saying X, so I'm always gonna say Twitter. So don't worry about that. Right? We got his ear back here. We got some of his chops coming off the ear. Got his brow coming in like that. Okay. There we go. We got our Wolverine sitting right there. He's all excited, yelling about something, right? So now we're gonna come up here and do our next Wolverine. Okay, and I'm just gonna start with this cowl. And go right into his eyeball right there. Got some reflection that's going to go on his orbital bones right there. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and color this in. I'm going to do it as we go because, you know, I like to do things in varying ways so that you understand that, hey, you can do it however you want to do it. Whatever's comfortable for you. It doesn't always have to be the same exact process every time. Now, generally it does. Like, you always have to go from, you know, simple shapes to abstract shapes to more of a anatomical or refined shape. But you can do it in any order that you want to do it in, okay? All right, we'll put his little teeth down there. Doop, 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 doop. And you got to make them sound effects, right? You got that, okay? We've got to go ahead and get his chin in here. Maybe we put some whiskers on there, right? Get his head in there, and there we got a Wolverine hanging around right there. Okay. Now we got one more Wolverine. Now one of the reasons I really love Joe Maduria is because I love how visceral his mouths are and how he likes to scream, and you know the screams look a little bit like barbaric and like you know, like very masculine, like it's a brutal scream, you know, not one of these but like some huge heavy barbarian that's, you know, about ready to you know, cut somebody's head off or something. And that's the kind of screams I'm talking about, more like a barbaric yop. You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys read that poem, that barbaric yop poem? If you haven't, go Google it, all right? It talks about death and all that good stuff. It's a really good poem. I forget who it's by. It might be by Longfellow. I can't remember. All right, but just Google in barbaric yop, and it'll come up. There we go. There's his nose. Now, it might seem like I don't have a rhyme or reason to what I'm doing, but I actually do. Both a rhyme and a reason. And here's one of those shapes I was talking about. How nice is that curve right there? That's such a nice curve. Right there. And he does those shapes very nicely. One of the reasons I really enjoy Joe. I really love his art style. Let's go ahead and fill this in. Right there we go. And there we go. We got ourselves our Wolverine screaming and yelling. Okay? And so that's basically it. When you want to go and push your art to the next level, find somebody you like. And find out what it is that you like about that artist. Is it their shapes? Is it how their proportions? Is it their pen or their brush technique? Is it their cross hatching? Is it their shadow work? What is it that you like? You have to. You're gonna be drawn to it emotionally, but then you have to analyze those emotions and figure out exactly what it is. I really like how they do their eye shapes. I really like how they do their mouth shapes. I really like how they do their anatomy. I really like how they mix straight edges in their arms and their anatomical flow. You know, it's not all, you know, these curves. It goes curve, straight edge, curve, and that makes it seem more visceral, more masculine. I really, really like that. So what you want to do is you want to find the artist that you're drawn to. You want to figure out what it is about that artist that you like. And then you want to study it by copying those aspects in your sketchbook. Okay? So go ahead and do that. Now, today's day 28, tomorrow's day 29, then it's day 30. Let's get excited, people. We've already changed our lives 3 times over with these 30-day challenges, okay? We're fixing to do it a 4th time on an even grander scale. So let's fucking go. Let's keep some math. Come on now.